Friday. That means it's time for a little high school football and a little bit of a preview of high school football with our good friend Stephen Orr, West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard Show. Stephen, good morning. How are you?
Chad, I'm great. How are you? And looks like we're going to have a really good fall day. Really starting to get that feeling of fall, and kind of brings high school football to a little different place for me.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're getting into October. It's a little bit cooler, and especially at night, it's a little bit cooler, and it just makes it a little more special, I think.
Well, I know over here in Floydada, we just need clear weather. We've had, out of the 3 home games we played, 2 lightning delays and hadn't gotten home before midnight in 2 of our 3 games.
Yeah, you just want some good weather over there.
We'll take a good night, but a crisp night, too.
There you go. I think you're going to get one tonight.
Well, it looks like it, and boy, there's some good ball games on tap for this weekend, and really exciting. Had one last night that I thought was going to be a little more exciting with Coronado taking on Odessa Permian, and last year Coronado upset Permian in that game, but a couple of bad interceptions and just failure for Coronado to really get off the ball. They lose that ball game to Odessa 38-7. Yeah,
that was one of those games that I think quite a few people expected it to be maybe a little bit closer.
Well, you've got a sophomore quarterback that's still trying to get his feet under him. I mean, he's done well, and he's improving, but it's just reading defenses. And Permian's an improved team over where they were last year. And I think Coach Seth Barr and the Mustangs there just need a little bit more time, and they're about to get off into the district race. And, that's the key thing about this week for most districts, not all of them, but most of them. This is the last tune-up game before we go into an open week next week and then really kick off the district season in high fashion. So a lot of really wanting to make sure people are wanting to get that win tonight, really have momentum and have themselves set up going into the district campaign.
Well, talk to us a little bit about some of these games that people will see tonight.
I tell you what, one of them right there in Lubbock has 2 teams that are still looking for their first win. One I might have suspected it, the other not so much, and that's Lubbock High taking on Lubbock Estacada. Lubbock High comes in at 0-4, Estacada at 0-3. But the thing that surprises me about Estacado, in the 3 games they've played and then the no contest last week, they have only scored 24 points this season. That's an average of 8 points in those 3 games that counted, 8 points a game. And that's not something we typically see from Lubbock Estacada. Lubbock High, their offense, after that first week against Sweetwater, where they just got trounced by a really, really good team, Estacada scored 35, 26, and 20. So their offense does have some production, and they're actually producing a little bit better than what Estacado is. Estacada's just struggled, and really their losses are not against teams where we say, wow, that's a powerhouse team. So my prediction, I think the Westerners have a chance to put one in the win column unless Estacada shows up a little bit different. I know they've made some changes on offense. They're going to try some different things and just see if they can't get something to spark and get that offense going. But 2 teams that desperately need a win going into district play. Also, you've got a game where the Cooper Pirates are going down to take on the Monahans Lobos, and Monahans is a team that seems like year in and year out we're talking about those guys when it comes to playoff time. But I tell you what, Lubbock Cooper goes down full of confidence after a 41-7 shellacking of Stephenville. What an impressive win by Lubbock Cooper. They announced their presence with authority in that game. Monahans has beaten the teams they're supposed to beat. They've struggled against teams. They lost to Big Spring and Andrews, and I think Lubbock Cooper goes down, and they're going to put on another show. Monahans is going to see a really good football team, and I'm very impressed with what Lubbock Cooper's done overall this year. The Monterey Plainsmen are hosting Amarillo at Caprock. Monterey sits at 2-2 on the season. They've got a Caprock team that's 1-2, and I think Monterey sure stands a good chance. Caprock, when Coach Seth Barr was up there, that was a team that was averaging 40 or so points a game. That's not the case anymore, as Caprock has struggled on the offensive side of the ball, and I think Monterey, with their physical brand of football that they play, they have a good chance to win that ball game. The Friendship Tigers look to rebound after a close loss to San Angelo Central last week as they go to take on the Odessa Broncos. Odessa's at 1-3 on the year, and this is a game that I think where Friendship really just wants to reestablish what they do, both offensively and defensively. Again, San Angelo Central is a really good team, and that was a 21-16 ball game. So it's not like Friendship got taken to the woodshed, but you just want to finish that non-district slate with a win. And I think they have a good chance to do that against the Odessa Broncos. Another game that really has some interest for me is Plainview Bulldogs hosting the Dumas Demons. Dumas comes in at this ball game at 4-0 on the year. Plainview's sitting at 2-2. But when you look at Dumas' strength of schedule, they've gotten that 4-0 record playing teams that are a classification below them. And Plainview is going to be the best team that they've seen this year. And Plainview, even in their losses, has played well. I know that their starting quarterback has been injured, and he's out of the game, but they've got a pretty capable sub coming in there. So that should be a really good ball game there at Memorial Stadium in Plainview. Probably one of the best games of the week, in my opinion, has Shallowater and Idalou playing. Shallowater is at 1-1 on the season after their game with Estacada last week was called a no contest, and Idalou is sitting at 3-1 on the year. Their only loss coming to Lubbock Cooper, so they lost that season opener, and then they've ripped off 3 good games. Shallowater has a couple of really good running backs. They're going to run the ball. They're very explosive on offense, and Idalou's been pretty capable on defense again once they got past that first game against a team that just literally anymore, it just overpowered them. There's the disparity in the sizes of the schools with the Pirates, but that's going to be a dandy of a ball game. And then you've got the New Deal Lions taking on the Sundown Roughnecks, and New Deal's 4-0 on the year. Sundown comes in at 2-2, but they're not quite the team they have been the last couple of years. They've suffered losses to Abernathy and to Panhandle last week, was who they lost to. And so they're going to really have to step up their game against New Deal. And finally, Abernathy taking on Childress, and this ought to be a dandy of a ball game. Abernathy's sole loss came back to post in the opening week of the season. Childress's 2 losses, they're sitting at 2-2, but they lost to teams that have been making deep runs in the playoffs. They lost to Wellington in the first week of the season, 15-14, and then they lost to Canadian, which there's a whole lot of teams that can say that they got taken to the house by Canadian. So Childress a better team maybe than what their record indicates, and that should be a really good and physical ball game. Those 2 teams always really play a physical brand of football.
So it's Stephen Orr, West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard Show, which you can hear on our sister station, 1340 The Fan, Friday night, this evening, 10 to midnight. Right around 10 p.m., right after that high school football game ends, and then all the way up to midnight. Stephen, what's 1 or 2 of those big games, must-see games that people have to go out to?
I tell you what, the 2 games that I really, if it was me and I was just going anywhere, I would go watch that Plainview Dumas game. I think that's going to be a dandy, and I think the Shallowater Idalou game has the potential to really be a fine ball game.
All right, two very good ball games, some great teams out there, and like you said earlier, teams that are trying to put stuff together before district play.
Well, and that's the thing about high school football that's really different than pretty much any other level. What we're doing this part of the season, it matters. You want to get those wins. You never go out to lose, but you have time to develop things and figure out where kids go, and then we get off into a district campaign. The only thing I'm not happy about is 4 teams out of every district go to the playoffs. So,
yeah,
holy cow!
just about everybody.
Everybody, snow cones for everybody. I guess
that's exactly right. What was it? Was it last year where down in the Houston area in one division every team made it?
Yeah, that's correct. There was a team that did not win a game that was in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and that's just silly. I mean, well, and the thing I don't like about it, let me get out my soapbox and I'll stand on it for a minute, is if you are the 4th team in your district and you're playing a district champion from another district, how many of those games do we see? They're just so lopsided that it's just ridiculous. And, I mean, do we do our kids any good? Is it really beneficial to say, well, we went to the playoffs? In my opinion, no, but I'm just one guy, and I talk on the radio.
Hey, I think there are a lot of people who agree with you, man.
Hey, did you see the extra point last week? The Midland League kicker used an official's head and the crossbar to get the extra point.
That was impressive.
That was awesome.
That was very impressive. Now, okay, does that count?
Yeah, it was good.
Okay.
That was a good point. The official is considered a part of the field.
See, you couldn't, if asked to duplicate that, you couldn't do it. There's just no way.
Not in a million. But did you see the look on the guy's face? Like he had no idea that there was fixing to be a kick or something. It was hilarious.
You got to get out of the way of the ball. Just next time the kicker gets up there to kick a field goal, just yell duck. And see what, or maybe not. Just hit it off the ref every single time.
Well, do we need to take it from golf and just start yelling 4 before we kick the ball?
Well, no, because this time it actually helped the guy. If he would have hit the official on the head, it probably would have been good.
Well, at least and it didn't knock the guy down, but that's our bizarre play of the year. That was awesome.
Yes, it was. Stephen Orr, West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard Show. You can hear it on our sister station, 1340 The Fan. As you're driving around this evening from 10 p.m. to midnight, and then throughout other West Texas places as well, you can hear the West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard Show. Stephen, as always, thank you very much.
Hey, Chad, enjoyed it. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.